The importance of businessmen in a society. Businessmen are very important people for a country's economy. This for two main causes. The first one, they provide thousands of jobs and they employ major part of a country's population with this by creating their private companies. Secondly, they contribute to the government by paying large amount of taxes, and these are large amount of money that will make the country's economy fulfill and grow high. According to La Importancia del Empresario 1, business profit is, in conclusion, the instrument that incessantly guides and assigns the use of productive resources towards the purposes that the community considers most important. So to summarize, I will discuss in this speech the benefits that a businessman and the positive impact that a private company and businessman create in a country. And what is their main enemy that many times, mainly in Latin America, don't let businessmen grow and will destroy private companies. The main enemy that a businessman has are populist governments, especially in Latin America, countries where left-wing governments are most common. Populist leaders don't support the growth of private companies. They instead will take out the large amount of money as much as they can, and then they will give this to poor people. Basically, populist leaders, they create a common enemy with the poor people against the elite of the country. They create hatred against elite people. They say they are the enemy of the poor, the enemy of the nation, the enemy of the country. With this speech, they will start to gain power. According to How Populism Impacts Exchange Rates 1, this increases investor belief that such leaders might negatively impact economic growth through the implementation of new economic, financial, and political or social policies. What this quote is saying is that entrepreneurs are very afraid to go and invest in countries that populist leaders are in power, since they won't support the growth of their private companies and the growth of private sectors. So these leaders will always have very charming and very nationalistic speeches to gain popularity of the people, of the poor people. Then they will promise them many social benefits and poverty bonuses that are gonna be free. Of course, this is not free. Somebody has to pay this, right? According to Mueller 1, anyone who gets in the way is branded as enemy of the people. This phrase is very commonly used by populist leaders against the elite people, businessmen, private companies, everything that has to be with the elite. In addition, populism always ends affecting the country's economy and creating a big crisis. They affect the private companies and businesses, since they put so many taxes and laws that these ones would end up closing or in bankruptcy. Populists economically punish all of the businessmen, since they need to gain more money to finance what they have promised to their people. According to Carrillo Batalla 6, but in Venezuela, subjugated by extreme populism, no company can grow reasonably, let alone entrepreneurs can thrive. What this quote is saying is basically that we know that Venezuela is now a country that is in crisis by the cause of populist leaders. First, Hugo Chavez, that entered the country's office and power in the 2000s, and his successor, Nicolas Maduro, in the moment. They are almost dictators that are against the free trade, the economic growth of companies and private sector, and they are of course against the elite and businessmen. After talking about the negative impacts that populist government has on private companies, I will let you know how important private companies can be in a country's economy and how they support. A businessman is a person that with a lot of effort creates their own company. By creating a company, they will benefit the country in two major ways. As I said before, first, they will create hundreds of jobs, and secondly, they will pay many taxes that will help the country's economy. According to Mesa Rodriguez one, in Mexico, 83% of companies are family-owned, and the majority are small and medium-sized, which generate 67% of employment in the country. Therefore, they represent an important part of the economy. So this is really very clear. In Mexico, 67% of families depend on private companies. According to El papel del empresario, La economía, Mercado 1,